Hey guys, my name's Caleb,
And I'm Erin.
and we are gold leaders. Well, Erin's more of a gold leader, and I'm tagging along with the Oily Generations team. And tonight we're going to talk about oil uses and other product uses for guys. So we're going to talk about supplements, working out, some of my favorite oils, and what I would call like more manly oils. We're talking about using oils in the outdoors, the way guys would, and some personal care things. But before we get into all that, I wanted to address a few things up front. So I think there are some skeptics out there because a lot of guys see essential oils and other products that Young Living has to offer as a ladies' product. And if you think about it from a business standpoint, that makes sense that Young Living is kind of marketing that way because ladies are the ones who normally jump in on this stuff more than the guys. And I think there's two reasons for that. The first is that ladies generally own the health department in our homes, right? Like when your kid gets sick, who normally takes care of the kid, right? It's probably your wife. Yeah, more so than you do. The other thing is that men are much less likely to support their health. So normally we're like on our deathbed or missing a leg, and you're like, you know what? I'll take an ibuprofen. I think I'll be okay, right? So we're very reactive, and women, just generally speaking, are more proactive in taking care of their health. So for those reasons, because Young Living is a wellness company, it's mainly women that get into it, and so that's kind of who they target in their marketing most of the time. But that does not mean that the products aren't for men too, as we're going to talk about more. Another reason not to be skeptical is because it works. So we got into it because Erin had a chronic health issue. She had 2 surgeries. She had the doctors tell her she was going to be on antibiotics the rest of her life, and she was like, I don't want to do that. I want a different way. So a friend introduced her to oils. She's supporting her body with the oils, and she's not cured because that's not really what oils do, but it fights off the problem.
Yeah.
Right? It manages it. So
Supports
she doesn't.
my body naturally.
Yeah, she doesn't have to be on antibiotics. So an answered prayer that came with this. That's how we got into it, and a quick, like immediate result that we found with it. So it kind of sold us on it. They're great for seasonal support. So I've noticed that like I can be outside weed eating or mowing, and eyes are watering, and eyes are getting puffy, or nose is running. Do a little roller blend with seasonal support. It clears that right up. I know a lot of guys can relate to that. My dad had high cholesterol, kind of runs in our family. He has used Young Living products and oils to nearly get off of his medication entirely. And we even have a friend that wore eyeglasses for decades, and she doesn't wear eyeglasses anymore by using oils on her face and head. So it sounds crazy, but these are like actually testimonies that are true.
We're able to be a lot more proactive instead of reactive, supporting our bodies naturally. So it's been a game changer for us.
Yeah, so you can stop being a skeptic. These are like true testimonies. You know, I always tell Erin, like, I don't want to tell guys, oh, it makes me feel better all the time, because that doesn't really mean anything. You know, I want like hard results. And these are like 4 specific things that we just mentioned. Oh, and one more. So we have a 2.5-month-old or 2.5-year-old daughter, and the average 12-month-old has been to the doctor 12 times, right? So basically every month, and that's outside of regular checkups. So for getting sick, people will take their kids to the doctor emergency room almost once a month from 0 months to 12 months. Our daughter has never been to the doctor outside of her regular checkups. And it's not because we're crazy parents, like, you know, dousing her with holy water when she's got 104 fever. We would take her to the doctor if she was sick, but she just hasn't been sick. And we know a huge part of that is because of her diet and the way her little body's been supported with these products, and because there are no chemicals in our home whatsoever. So,
or when she has an issue, we're able to keep her really comfortable here. You know, a lot of times we take our small children, and there's not a lot that they can do for them. They send you home, or they give you something to kind of help appease your mental state. But we know oftentimes there's not a lot that they can do for our little people. So we're able to keep her comfortable naturally, which is really empowering as parents.
Yeah, and she sleeps like a champ, which may be from me, but also the oils help.
Yeah.
So another thing that guys don't like, or on the surface are turned off by, and that's the price, right? So we'll talk a little bit later, right? So I said that at first, but then the first month my wife got her entire order paid for. So I was like, well, this isn't as expensive as I thought, because she's actually getting paid. to
And we'll
share.
talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But even if you don't do that, you'd be surprised at how many of Young Living's products you can actually dilute and really make last a long time. So even though a bottle of cleaner might be $20 or so, you can dilute it and make it last for 6 months. And you can make, how many 16-ounce bottles can you make with the cleaner? It's a bunch.
It's a bunch.
Yeah, it turns out it's like $1 a bottle in the end or something.
But we dilute laundry detergent and shampoo.
Yeah, so don't be turned
soap.
off by the price tag that you see if your wife is showing you, on our computer, like, oh, this is so expensive, because you really have to figure it out after you dilute it. And the other thing you're doing is you're not buying the bad stuff from the store. So the other way you're saving is, so like Erin has not been to Target or Walmart in a long time. Now she has to go occasionally to Target to get like note cards or something, but we have like cut our trips to Target and Walmart probably in like a tenth or less. And you know how when you go to get one thing that costs $9, but you end up spending like $98 by the time you leave.
Every time.
Yeah, every time. You can't leave that place without spending like $50 or more.
Yeah.
So
it's really been replacement buying for us.
Yeah, so we've cut down on all that. And the other thing you do, now we haven't had to worry about this because I'm in the Army and our health care costs $0. But a lot of people have to pay co-pays and buy medication and stuff every time they go to the doctor. So I know one family of 4 that saved $700 in medical bills the first year they started using essential oils. Right, so just the amount of money you pay toward doctors and medication can be reduced, and the amount of time sitting in waiting rooms and ERs or whatever else.
And nobody wants to drag 3 little people to the doctor's office over and over again.
Yeah. So the last thing, so we talked about the health benefits and why it's mainly targeted toward women. That doesn't mean that's not for men as well. We talked about how it actually works. We talked about how it's not as expensive as it seems. And the last thing is, I just want to tell you a little bit about the company. Because to me, that's kind of another big thing, is like, is this sort of a scam? Like, tell me about this company. So the first thing is, you want to dress up front, multi-level marketing, Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme, whatever you want to call it, right? So the multi-level marketing business model is the business model that pyramid schemes exploited, right? And so that's why they get a bad name. So in an actual pyramid scheme, no product or service is actually exchanged, right? So you order something, you get 3 of your friends to order something, and then nothing ever actually shows up at your door, which is illegal in the U.S. and so there's like a whole thing of products right here, and then we have a rack in there of products. So there's like thousands of dollars of products.
We definitely have a box that shows up at our house every month.
So that's not the case. And the other thing is too, a lot of the challenging, I would say, multi-level marketing companies are ones that you have to like have a huge startup cost, right? You have to hold like $10,000 worth of inventory in your basement or something, and it's on you to unload it. That's not the way this works either. We don't actually sell anything in our home. We give out samples to encourage people, but if anybody wants to the products, they order directly from Young Living. There's no risk involved with the business for us because we had already bought the kit and it was working wonderfully for us. So the business side, it cost us $0 to start because we had already bought the kit. Then the last thing, just more about Young Living. We went to their convention a few weeks ago, and one of the things that their COO, their CEO, and all their executive staff repeated over and over again was this phrase, purpose over profit. And that's really kind of, you can tell that's a culture that's permeated throughout the entire organization. The actual Young Living workers from like the warehouse and the HR department or whatever work throughout the convention at random spots. And so you get to interact with them. So I asked several of them, I was like, so tell me what it's really like being here in Utah. Like, what's it like to work at the Young Living corporate headquarters or just like for the company? And they were like, it's amazing. One lady said she drove 3 hours a day just to work for this company, and she's hoping to get her daughter in with the company. So that to me said a lot, when you're lower employees or whatever, your blue collar type workers are saying like how much they love working for it. And then the culture I could see that was started at the top of the company. And so one of the things with purpose over profit is they've started a Young Living Foundation. So I know a lot of people give to charities, but this is one they're really committed to helping the communities where their farms are. And so they don't go in, they're not like the rich white American that comes in and exploits the land or whatever. They actually teach the locals how to farm sustainably and invest in the local community to make that community thrive. They do a lot of great work. So that's just one way they kind of express this mantra of purpose over profit. And there are lots of men in the company. That's the last thing. The founder is actually a man, Gary Young. He's like
He's a man's man.
Yeah, he's a man's man, like botanist, like agriculturalist, farmer, horseback, right? He liked motorcycle. There's like a whole like motorcycle thing associated with it. There's a lot of their friends that ride motorcycles, and jousting. He was really into jousting too.
Big community of men.
Yeah, and then so I found that kind of when I went to convention. So it exists. We're not as loud and vocal often as our wives are with the business, but it exists. So don't for a second think that this is not at all for men and can benefit men. And not only should we be supportive of our spouses who likely got us into this, but also we can actually use the products ourselves and see some changes in ourselves. So last thing, this is not a science lesson. All right, I know a lot of guys get into the science of how this all works. We're not going to talk about like all the chromosomes and I don't know, protein shapes and molecular structures of how all this all works. That exists, and there's books and research you can look for out there to find that. But that's not what tonight is. I'm just going to share with you some of the products that I use and that we use, and kind of share some testimony of how it's worked for me. And that's really about it, right? So if you want the science, then we can find that book later. All right, so sit back, relax, and we'll pop up the next video soon.
All right.